It is amazing. Less than 24 hours since the Supreme Court slapped down a liberal Obama-appointed judge and told this judge, you can't do these injunctions. What do you think she did today? I just got done talking about it earlier today on our show. And right after the show, this pops up. She actually went forward and did another injunction. This is what happened. It says, Judge Indira Talwani ruled that the USPS, the post office, violated her nationwide injunction against President Trump's election executive order by finalizing the mail ballots rules while the order was blocked, accusing the government of having feigned complete compliance. She entered yet another injunction and said she has a problem that they didn't follow the prior injunction, which the Supreme Court already struck down. I don't know how you make any sense of this other than to realize this woman is bat poop crazy and that the Democrats are completely desperate. They will do anything to run out the clock on President Trump. They will do anything to stop the agenda. They will do anything to make sure illegals keep voting. And now here she is, not even 24 hours after SCOTUS slapped her down. She's back at it again. I want to show you this tweet by Shipwreck Crew, an attorney. And he says here, to those who don't understand why Judge Talwani ruled today that USPS violated her injunction the day after SCOTUS vacated her injunction, there are two cases, California versus Trump, 23 states are the plaintiffs. Number two, the League of Women Voters versus Trump. Liberal interest groups are the plaintiffs in that case. She entered summary judgment and a permanent injunction in the California case. The DOJ sought to stay in the First Circuit. It was denied. The DOJ sought stay in SCOTUS, and SCOTUS granted it. So understand, she's trying to do anything. She's got multiple cases trying to stop President Trump from doing all this with the mail-in ballots. One has already been stricken by the Supreme Court. Let's continue. In the second case, she at first did not grant an injunction. Judge Sullivan in D.C. blocked the executive order in a different case, but the D.C. Circuit later overruled him. After that, she granted a preliminary injunction for that case. DOJ did not appeal that injunction. Yesterday, the case was before SCOTUS, was only the California versus Trump case where 23 states were suing the Trump administration. The League of Women Voters case was not in front of SCOTUS. They only set aside her injunction in a California case. They did not stay her injunction in a League of Women Voters case. Her order today, finding the injunction was violated, was in the League of Women's Voters case. This is a clown show. This is a clown show of epic proportions that they're trying to do anything they can to stop President Trump. Further, Judge Talwani issues an idiotic order on the mail-in ballot case that was not before SCOTUS yesterday. So the other one, done. This one, they didn't do it yet, so let's go ahead and order a nationwide permanent injunction. Basically, her order is a self-own. She finds that the USPS violated her injunction by completing rulemaking, even though she ordered them not to do so. Then she says, paraphrasing, this actually works to the benefit of the plaintiffs because now they can amend their complaint to challenge the actual final rule, which is no longer hypothetical. No shit, Sherlock. That's exactly why the Supreme Court faulted you for issuing the injunction in the first place. In the related case, when everything was hypothetical and no one could be sure what, if anything, the end executive order would result in. She arrived at the right place. She just ran backwards to get there. Ron Coleman also had something, and he said, yesterday's decision seems to be the first outright expression by SCOTUS that lower court judges who act without jurisdiction are themselves doing irreparable harm to the administration. That is an understatement. we have these lower court judges who do not have the authority to do what they're doing. They've been slapped down by the Supreme Court time and time again, over and over again, but they keep trying to insert themselves into the entire process of the election. It's amazing to me that we see so many Democrats worried about the president inserting himself into the elections, that the Department of Justice may insert themselves into the elections, but they have no problem with these lower courts inserting themselves into the elections. Norm Eisen, what's his name, Mark Elias, these people are scum. They will do anything to throw roadblocks or sticks in front of the Trump train to try and derail it.
Above all else, the effort to commandeer the U.S. Postal Service in a shameful act to turn it into a voter suppression war machine against the citizens of the United States is both unlawful and unconstitutional. That the Constitution gives the president no authority to have done this. That the U.S. Postal Service final rule is not only based on an unlawful executive order, but frankly violates the federal laws that govern the U.S. Postal Service. So yes, I do think time will tell. And what it will tell is a sad tale of an administration insistent on making it harder for you to vote and easier for them to cheat because you have an unpopular president whose party is otherwise going to lose the elections. What time will tell is that this is going to be misused and abused to create a permission structure to challenge elections that Republicans lose fair and square. What time will tell is that election deniers, advocates of the big lie, will cite this case as proof that somehow there was fraud when in fact there was none. That somehow there was cheating when this opinion doesn't say that. And shame on the U.S. Supreme Court because they know that that will happen. And they either want that to take place or they simply don't care. My job as a lawyer is to set all of this aside and to take the law as it is. We have this decision from the U.S. Supreme Court. We have been told that it was premature for the states to bring their case. Presumably, this will also result in the lifting of a similar injunction also issued in Massachusetts in favor of a bunch of nonprofit organizations. Now, that's not self-executing, so we're going to have to wait and see if that happens, and if so, how quickly. But from my standpoint as a lawyer representing parties that are injured by this, well, we're not giving up. We cannot let the cynics win. We cannot let Donald Trump prevail because people like you and me simply give up. Now's not the time to give up. It is to double down and to triple down and to make sure that we do everything in our power to protect free and fair elections in this November and for years to come. And what that means is that in the coming days and weeks, you will see more litigation. More litigation in this case, and more litigation in other cases trying to make sure that the administration cannot cheat its way into holding power that the American people takes away from it. Look, if there's one thing you can do, is you can share good information about what just happened. Don't buy into the lies. Don't buy into the conspiracy theories. Don't let Donald Trump own this narrative.
A few moments later.
But I am told by our producers that your firm just filed suit against the U.S. Postal Service. Are we getting that correct? And what can you tell us?
Yeah, so you got it exactly right. The Supreme Court said that all of these lawsuits that were filed, the one that made it to the Supreme Court first involved the state AGs, that essentially they were premature, that the Postal Service had not yet taken the steps necessary to make a lawsuit timely. Well, this afternoon, on behalf of the Democratic National Committee, Democratic Senate Campaign Committee, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, Democratic Governors Association, Senator Schumer and Leader Jeffries, we filed just that lawsuit and are seeking an immediate injunction to bar this now final rule from the U.S. Postal Service from being implemented.
Talk to me about the timeline. Why are we doing this 70 days out from an election?
Because Donald Trump is trying to make it harder for people to vote and easier for Republicans to cheat. And he is doing that through a variety of means. He is doing it by lying about the elections. He is doing it by putting people like Todd Blanche in charge of the Department of Justice. But he is also doing it by issuing these executive orders and trying to take over the U.S. Postal Service to make it a part of his voter suppression plan. And the Democratic Party is not going to stand for that. We are going to litigate this, and we are going to win.
It's becoming obvious now that what we're about to see is quite inevitable. They're not able to stop President Trump, so all they're trying to do is contain him. They're trying to delay, obfuscate again, and then delay again. It's inevitable. The Supreme Court is going to slap her down once again. At some point, the Supreme Court is going to have to give a judgment, and that judgment is going to have to, with no uncertainty, tell these lower court judges, you are not allowed to place a national injunction, period. That's the only way this stuff is going to stop. You're going to see the Norm Eisens of the world. You're going to see the Mark Eliases of the world. They will sue over anything. Gavin Newsom said today he's got to sue. J.B. Pritzker, he's got to sue. Kathy Hochul, she's going to sue. The more these people want to stop Trump, the more obvious it becomes. They've got nothing. They cannot win this election without all kinds of nefarious means. And it's about time the American people, the American people that want to wake up and smell the roses here. The Democrat Party is not a viable opponent. The only way they can become viable is by cheating. That's it. There is nothing else. And of course, utilizing the judiciary to do their dirty work. We're going to keep seeing this stuff happen over and over and over. Eric Doherty had posted about it as well. He said, holy crap, she's gone rogue. Leftist judge Indira Talwani spits in the face of the Supreme Court and just ruled that Trump's U.S. Postal Service has hereby violated her block on the mail-in ballot security rules, the block that was rescinded. She's going off, aggressively accusing Trump's team of complete non-compliance. This comes after SCOTUS upheld for now Trump's EO and rules to secure mail-in ballots. It's time to impeach Judge Talwani or it won't stop. And it's not a matter of impeaching these people. Impeaching will do nothing. You will never get enough votes to impeach one of these judges and get them off the bench. We are going to have to use much more extreme measures. I advocate for using the military. I advocate for going full-on Andrew Jackson. I want to see the Insurrection Act. I know a lot of people say that's kooky. We can't go that far, but we don't have much choice. These judges are going to continue doing whatever they want with complete impunity. And here's where it gets worse. If these Democrats somehow finagle themselves into power, they are never going to rescind it. They are never giving it back, and we will be done as America. They will reinstate all the cuts that Doge made. They will go ahead and make sure we continue funding Somalia and every other third world country because there's a grift. There's obviously some money laundering going on. They're going to open the borders. They're going to have judges that say it's okay. If people don't understand what's at stake here, we are in trouble. And if we're already seeing judges do stuff like this, if we're already seeing them ignoring a Supreme Court order less than 24 hours ago, what do you think the future holds? How do you think this is going to get done? They are going to screw us to the wall. So I hope you guys are paying attention. I hope you can talk to your friends, your family members, your coworkers, and see and let them know this has to stop. The Americans want clean elections. Americans want voter ID. It's only the Democrats, and it's very telling. That tells you they know they can't win. It's not about disenfranchising anybody. It's just that they can't win without cheating. Check out the show later today.